Hi everyone, I'm JC and I work here in Singapore for the last 6 years as an IT professional. I wouldn't say that I came from a poor family because, to be honest, when I was a kid, our family and especially my father and mother worked really hard to meet the daily ends and for our school together with my brother as well. And I will classify our family as a middle class family during my childhood days. And there was a time then when I was probably around 17 or 18 years old, and I was second year, third year college, when my dad lost his job because he was working as a personal assistant or personal aide for my uncle, who is a retired U.S. Navy. And there was a bad news that my uncle died because of a chronic disease that was around 13 or 14 years ago. So that time during my college years, I was woke up with this reality that we're not rich. So in terms of that perspective, I came to a realization that I really want to finish my studies and have to have a good job in the future. And I would say that starting or even the time that I graduated from college, I already became the breadwinner of our family when I was around 20 or 21 years old. And it's not that easy though, because the responsibilities and those daily needs that you have to meet is really on your shoulder, because just like what I said, my dad lost his job and my mother is just plain housewife, and my brother is also still studying during that time. And the worst case scenario is that since we don't have any income coming in our family anymore, so my brother actually stopped studying as well. So with that being said, my very first salary is that I only earn around minimum range in the Philippines back then. And it's really tough because you have to pay your bills, pay your rent, you have to pay your electricity, you have to buy your foods, everything. You're basically all the essentials for you to be able to meet your end. And there was a time that fast forward a year, 2015 or 2016, my father died. And from that moment, I promised to myself that I'll be the head of my family, and I promised to my father during his last days in the hospital that I'll take care of my mother and brother, because we're just a small family. And I promised to myself that I will be the one who will be continuing and pay for my brother's school until the very last end. And which is why because I was the type of person back then that it's a happy-go-lucky guy. But then at the end of the day, I realized that the money that you spend on those things is not important, because when you were in the days, on your last days, it's not really important if you actually have the money or not. So eventually, I came from realization that I need to go to abroad, and specifically here in Singapore. And yeah, luckily, me and my wife, my girlfriend Jaya back then, lucky enough to land a job here in Singapore. That was actually six almost 7 years ago. And we were not the type or a typical OFW back then that with the first salary that we had is just we already get a landed property in the Philippines, and we're not the typical Filipino OFW that to spend money. Eventually you lead to your bank account that doesn't have any money on it. So even though we were the OFW in the family, we were actually I was the first generation OFW in the family. So when I first received my salary, back then, I was really surprised that the salary that I have in the Philippines is just like triple or quadruple the amount that I'm earning here in abroad. So I was really happy because I know for a fact that I'll be able to help my family also and my brother as well to finish the studies. So fast forward, last year, my brother already finished his studies and he graduated as electrical engineer in University of Perpetual Health. And right now, he's currently looking for a job. And I'm really happy and really proud of myself because I already fulfilled the promise that I made to my father before he died. So me and my wife is actually an advocate of financial and physical mental health also. And currently, I'm into physical wellness as well because I've been saying to myself for the last few years that I need to do this, I need to lose weight, I need to be more fit, physical fit in terms of you have to gain more self-confidence for yourself, not only for you're not doing it for other people but you're doing it for yourself. And eventually at the moment, it's not that I'm eating enough or I'm eating the right way, but I would say I'm doing it one step at a time. So because I use the bad happenings and those pain that I have or that happened to my life for the last few years, and yeah, so. And I also met this actually a Filipino group here in Singapore, the Filipino Dance Club, because ever since I was a kid, I really loved dancing. So I was part of the cheering squad in our school. So that was a decade ago. And then eventually there was I have a friend who is already a member in this organization in FDC. And he actually asked me to join because he knows that I love dancing. So I recently joined the Filipino Dance Club, and until now I'm still a member and I'm still an active member of that organization. And I would say that is one of the biggest thing that happened in my life here in abroad because I gained so many friends and network as well. And I also learned a lot of dance steps, and I actually improved my dancing skills because of that organization. So I would say that is one of the blessings that happened to me in Singapore. So right now, all the blessings, if you think that all the blessings that happened into my life is just really not enough at this point in my life, because I have this big dream that I want, because I don't want to retire in my late 40s or 50s and just to meet your daily ends. I want to retire living my life as completely different from what I'm living in my past for the past 30 years that I have. So yeah, ang masasabi ko lang talaga sa mga new generation, at mga kababayan natin sa Philippines, is that if just always take a risk, because yung favorite quote ko nga lagi kong sinasabi is what is life without a risk, and you wouldn't know something if you never try, right? You never know unless you try. So I would say I'm a risk taker, because high risk, high reward, right? So if you don't take risks, then you wouldn't know how much you can gain, or how much you can learn, or how much knowledge and experience na magigain mo by just taking the risk. Na yung just don't doubt on yourself, because you wouldn't know how much capable of you, yung mga things na hindi mo pa alam na magagawa mo pala, yung mga doubts na nasa mind mo, and all of those things na natatakot kang gawin, na eventually na nasi-stuck ka sa comfort zone mo. So you have to always step out of your comfort zone, just like what I'm doing. Because if you just stay on your comfort zone, there's no growth there. So my advice to the next generation, to those Gen Z or Gen X, is that always take risks and stay focused, stay hungry, and most especially, just not work hard, but work smart, and always pray to God, because always ask for guidance, and yeah, always believe in yourself, because for our past generation, they wouldn't, they're not a risk taker. So hopefully, as a millennial, we are a group of millennials. We are the generation na nagtitake risk talaga. So hopefully na ang may papasa namin sa next generation is to influence more people, those young generation na makakapag just start taking risks at early age. Kasi hindi mo na siya magagawa kapag nagkaroon ka ng family. So at the early stage of your life, at the early stage or the very first salary na makukuha mo, just make sure you take risks, but also at the same time, enjoy your life to the fullest. So yeah, that's all. Again, my name is JC, and I'm part of the Millennial Changemakers, and I'm an advocate of physical and financial wellness. And I'm here to say goodbye. God bless.